Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and I'm so excited. We have Mike here, and we are talking all about how to have clean air. So Mike Feldstein is here of Jaspr, and one of the stats that I've heard, Mike, is that 100% of all homes currently have mold in it. Would you agree with that?
It depends where the study is taken. In an area where the homes breathe a lot, like it depends where in the world you are. In like Toronto or New York, almost every house has mold, especially the way attics are designed. But if you go to like Alberta or Colorado, where it's a lot more dry environment, then the concentration of mold is lower. But there is mold in the air everywhere. There's mold inside. It's not that there's 100% of mold. Homes have mold. It's that mold is just omnipresent, just like pollen, just like heavy metals. I'm breathing in mold right now. It's naturally occurring. It's outside. So there will be some amount of, it doesn't mean there's like visible physical black mold in every house, but I would say, yes, there's airborne mold everywhere.
So what got you so passionate about clean air? Because I think a lot of people are so concerned about their water, they're concerned about their food, but yet they somehow don't think about their air as much as they should.
It's quite funny because when we don't talk about drinking, we talk about water, how much water intake, clean water, filtered water, watch out for microplastics. We don't really talk about eating. We talk about organic food, grass-fed, grass-finished beef. We talk about the inputs, but breath work is talked about more than air quality itself. We talk more about breathing than the actual air itself. So I believe this is because air is the only thing we can do to keep us alive, consciously and unconsciously. It's the first thing we do when we're born. Take that first breath. It's the last thing we do before we die. Take our last breath. And I believe because, if you're thirsty, you go get water. If you're hungry, you go get air. It takes a conscious effort to consume those bio requirements. When it comes to air, it's something your body will do without you. You can breathe when you're asleep. So I believe for that reason, we don't realize that we live in air. Air only exists between the sea and the sky. There's a lot more water than there is air. What water is to fish, air is to humans. We just don't see it that way because we live in it. But it's not so different from water. It's just where us mammals live. So I think because we live in it, it's kind of like not having perspective and not seeing the forest from the trees. We can't see the air. We can hardly even notice it because we're in it.
Jaspr Pro eliminates harmful pollutants from your air, allowing you to focus on the things that matter most: your family, your work, and your passions. With Jaspr, you have a lifetime warranty. You're not just investing in an air purifier, you're investing in a lifetime of clean air without the worry of maintenance or repairs. It eliminates odors, chemicals, and gases. It filters mold, bacteria, and viruses. I originally bought the Air Doctor and the Dyson, and the Jaspr by far is superior in every way. Use coupon code ChantelRay for a huge discount.
Yeah, and I think the indoor air is more polluted than we think, and we're spending probably 90% of our time indoors, and I think that the air inside can be 10 times more polluted than outside, and it's just not in the front of our minds. So what would you say as far as kind of the air quality? What is the worst, like if you had to rate, because I mean, there's so many different pollutants, right? Name kind of the top 5 pollutants that you're seeing in the majority of people's air.
Well, there's indoor pollution and then there's outdoor pollution. So outdoor pollution is also mold, allergies, car exhaust, cooking, factories, wildfire smoke, the rubber from tires. You don't see the rubber on the road. So where do you think all that rubber is going when your tires are getting beat down? Microplastics, there's a study in the UK that 100% of homes tested had very high levels of microplastics. 98% of all samples had microplastics in it. So it's another thing that we don't really think about is everyone's thinking about microplastics in their water, but they're breathing a lot more microplastics than they are drinking. So indoor, you also have mold. You also have cooking. Cooking is the huge one. Hair products, huge one. Cleaning products, pets, big time. So it's all anything that aerosolizes. So yeah, cooking, cleaning, hairspray, lotions, candles, humidifiers, diffusers. That stuff is fine. But indoors, where you have a trapped house, especially in the western part of the world, we built our homes so tight where they are designed to keep the cool in the summer and the warm in the winter. So we trap everything in that house, but we're really the thing that's trapped inside that home 95+% of the time. So it's kind of a perfect storm situation where you have all these contaminants and particulates. Outside, it's much more tolerable because you have the UV from the sun, you have the naturally occurring hydroxyl radicals from the wind, breaking particles apart, filtering the air. Like, the best filter in the world is nature. Unfortunately, we left that shit outside and we locked ourselves in a little Tupperware box. And that's why it's a problem. It's because of the way we've confined ourselves to a enclosed space.
Yeah. And I think, I know that the energy efficiency movement that was in the 70s, that was great for getting the heating costs down, cooling costs down, but it actually was detrimental for the ventilation in the homes. And I also think that it seems like a lot of people used to have their windows open a lot more, like with screens, having their windows open. And now it seems like I don't ever go to people's houses now that I'm thinking about it, and their windows are open. Like, everyone kind of keeps their windows closed and they're not getting the outside air in. And like you said, it's kind of trapping all these particles inside and making the harmful contaminants be more than you think they are.
Yeah, this is true. And this is also because there's two things. Number one, people really like to be comfortable. They like to be comfortable and they like to save money. So naturally, the air conditioner, the house being nice and cool is appealing. It's also quieter. A lot of people live in very loud city environments, trucks and cars and sounds and bars, depending where you live. And then the outdoor air is not so clean either. In a lot of areas, the outdoor air, we talk about climate change. Really, every day we put more pollutants in the air, more than we put in the day before, at a rate that's getting harder and harder for nature to clean up for us. So a lot of people also know that the outdoor air can be humid, it can be muggy, it can be smelly, it can be, filled with smoke or pollution. So unfortunately for a lot of people, the outdoor air is not so great either. But still, a balance of bringing some fresh air into the home is optimal. And yes, you're right, 70s, environmental energy efficiency has been at the forefront. Unfortunately, environmental efficiency is at odds with environmental health, because the more efficient you try to make your house, is the tighter you make your house. And the tighter you make your house, the more trapped you are in there with all the cooking and the particles and the chemicals and the pet dander and all that stuff, and the allergens. And if you think about dust, there's no household dust outside. It's an indoor problem. That's it. And really, dust is an air quality problem. If you have clean air, where do you think the dust comes from? It doesn't grow from the floor. It doesn't grow on the windowsill. It settles from the air. So if a house has their air filtration dialed in properly, they have no dust.
I don't know about you guys, but I am stressed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed this holiday season, then I get it. With all the family get-togethers, it is just a relentless source of stress. But anyway, there is something that I've got called Stress Guardian, and it's actually made by Bioptimizers, the people who make the magnesium breakthrough, which I love, love, love. But anyway, they are literally made this new product. It has 14 adaptogenic herbs, and it just regulates your stress. I just actually took some right this second, and it's awesome. If you go to stressguardian.com/wasteaway and put in wasteaway for 10% off your first order, it's stressguardian.com/wasteaway. Go there now.
So a lot of times people think, oh, well, my HVAC has a filter. Does that take care of the air quality? Or sometimes people think, oh, well, I have a humidifier. do I still need to have an air purifier? And I think they get confused on that. So kind of talk about why having an air purifier is so important, and that the HVAC filter and humidifier doesn't do the part of getting rid of the pollutants.
Yeah, so we spent the first 2.5 years actually trying to develop an HVAC style air filtration unit. So that's what we were originally trying to create, because what a beautiful, elegant solution that would be. We just like a whole home water filter. You just pop that water filter on the intake where your water comes into your house, and you have filtered water. That's easy because you have a single source of water via a pipe from the city or your well or whatever coming in. Air is much sneakier. It comes in through the doors, the windows, the attics, the cracks, the vents, the crawl space. There's not usually a centralized intake for your air. So it's much sneakier. And your furnace was designed to heat and cool your house. It wasn't designed to be an air filtration system. So in my furnace, I actually use like a MERV 8, which is the lowest type of filter. Because if you go and put a big heavy duty filter on, you've restricted it. Your HVAC system's like the lungs of your home, and lungs like to breathe. So when you put a big choking HVAC system, a big filter, that it was not, there's the reason why your HVAC system didn't come with a big filter. It wasn't designed for that. You can't pull a boat. You can't pull your boat with your small sedan. Sometimes you need a truck. It's not the right tool for the job. So with an HVAC system, ideally your HVAC system is only running part of the time. It turns on and off, and usually it should be off. So when it's off, your air is not even being filtered. The furnace filter is really designed to keep your furnace safe, not to keep you safe. It's so big chunks of dust and particles and a nail or a screw or a clump of dog fur doesn't get into the motor of the HVAC system. It's not designed to be an air filtration system. It cannot handle fine, small particles. So it was disappointing because we spent a lot of time and money researching it and testing it. And those whole home HVAC units, they were a little bit effective when the furnace was running on full speed, but they weren't great. And unfortunately, it's much better to have a decentralized system. So if you have a few different Jaspers or any other air filter that somebody uses spread out around the house, the benefit of that is those, I want to clean the air in my bedroom and in my kid's bedroom more than in the crawl space or the hallway in the basement or something. With a whole home HVAC system, you're diluting your air filtration system and you're not concentrating your efforts. I want to have the cleanest air where I sleep, where I work, where I eat, where I'm spending that 95% of my time. Whereas if you dilute those efforts across the hallways and the bathrooms, all you're doing is, instead of having 95% clean air, you're having like 10 or 20% clean air. So it's a really nice thought. And if someone's building like a custom home from scratch, you can put in ERVs and HRVs, and you could theoretically build a whole home HVAC system that would do it all. It'd be an extra about $40,000 to do it really properly. But if you're retrofitting an existing home, just putting a more restrictive filter on your HVAC system is not going to work. That's why if you think about a whole home water filtration system, there's a holding tank, often two of them, like whether it's a water softener or it's a water filter, there's often a big tank or a hot water tank, for example, because the water needs to get filtered, and then otherwise you'd have no pressure. So if you have no pressure in your HVAC system, you're going to blow out the motor. It's not going to heat and cool. It's going to be very hot or very cold because the circulation is very poor. The HVAC system is designed to mix air and heat and cool it. Unfortunately, you can't use one tool for everything.
Mm-hmm. So what if someone says, we all know that house plants help with kind of the air. And so, people are like, oh, well, I've got a ton of plants in the house. What would you say about that if someone says, I'm just going to use a ton of plants to help with air quality?
I love plants. As you can see, I'm under a forest basically right now. I love plants, but I prefer my plants outside. I like fake plants and I like small plants. Plants do clean air. However, you would need trees in your home. I've run every single study you can imagine using high quality air monitors, sensors, particle counters in my bedroom, CO2 detectors, put a bunch of plants in the room. Nothing changes. The NASA did a study decades ago on like the best plants for air quality. However, many people have tried to recreate it and no one's ever been able to recreate it at all. And then what also could happen when you have a bunch of plants in your home, plants want to be outside, just like we should want to be outside. They want the sunlight. They don't want to be getting their light through a window. So also because you water those plants, it can create humidity issues in your home, which can promote mold growth. It also can create a really optimal environment for pests and bugs and things in your home. So I like a little bit of plants, but plants are mostly for feng shui, for the environment, for the atmosphere, just like the way you feel. And I think they're very valid for that reason. For the smells, I think there's a lot of benefits to a little bit of houseplants. However, if you go and put an air quality monitor and a sensor and you're measuring particulates, VOCs, PM 2.5, any like real measurable air quality data, the plants are just too small. The analogy I like to, it's kind of like small, tiny air purifiers. They're too small to work. It's kind of like trying to heat a bathtub with a kettle. Kettles are great at heating water if you're just trying to make a cup of tea, but you can't heat your bathtub with a kettle because as you're pouring that water, it's evaporating and cooling faster than you can heat it up. So the plant's just too small of a tool to get the job done.
Guys, I just want to interrupt for just a second, and I want you to hear Paul Saladino talk about why liver is so important. And if you don't like liver, we have another option for you.
Your ancestors were eating liver. And the reason that this sort of wisdom has been passed down is because liver is very nutritious. It's basically nature's multivitamin. If you look at the nutrients in meat, they're great. You've got zinc, you got B6, you got B12, you got some K2. But if you look at liver, it really complements what's in muscle meat. And there are many unique nutrients found in organs, specifically liver as a powerhouse of these, that are difficult to obtain outside of liver. Like meat and organs are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. They're supposed to be eaten together. The easiest way to eat liver is just to do it raw. If you don't want to eat liver raw, you can cook it. But the reason that I like to do it raw is because there are unique nutrients in liver that are probably somewhat degraded when you cook the liver.
This really is like the most nutrient-rich supplements that you can find, and they are amazing. I have tried them. I absolutely love them. So just go to heartandsoil.co, use the coupon code, and save you some money there.
And I love that you guys were originally designed to combat wildfire smoke. And then it seems like you guys also went into like dental offices, like all the dental offices seem to have you guys in there, and that it's good enough for combating the wildfire, but it also is so good. Like the dentists, are they using it because of, with all, when they're cleaning the teeth and stuff like that, all the stuff that kind of comes out, your product must just like really suck it out, because it seems like every dentist office has it.
The Department of Labor, one of those two, ranked dental and dental hygienists as two of the top 5 most dangerous jobs in America, more than a police officer, a firefighter, or working in a coal mine, because there's the dirtiest parts of a human is the butt and the mouth. And when they're blasting their water jets and aerosolizers into your mouth, everything from under your gums is aerosolizing. So a lot of dentists don't have them, but they should, because dentists have some of the dirtiest, and the dentist wears a mask when they're treating the patient, but the patient's mouth is wide open. So you're just breathing everything from that last patient and the patient before them's mouth. And not only that, but when you measure the air, even in the lobby of a dental office, there's all kinds of particulates. So we originally created Jaspr for the wildfire smoke to handle heavy toxic smoke, but look beautiful. Then when COVID happened, doctors and dentists needed it to reopen their practices and keep their patients and staff safe. And then the patients started to see it, started to buy it for their kids' allergies, their kids' asthma, their own sleep quality, focus, productivity, whatever it may be. And now because we over-engineered the product, it wasn't supposed to be for a regular house. For those who want really clean air, it happened to be a good solution. But I never thought we would be tackling allergies and cooking and sleep. That was not the intention at all.
Awesome. Well, you guys, I personally have tried all the different air filters. I'm passionate about clean air. People send me air purifiers all the time. I've tried Air Doctor. I've tried Dyson. I've tried Austin Air. And I will tell you, Jaspr is my absolute favorite. It is the best. Use coupon code ChantelRay for a huge discount. And we are so glad that you came here today. You were a bundle of knowledge, and we are grateful for you. And thank you for helping taking our air quality to the next level.
My pleasure. Happy to help.
Thank you. And you guys stay tuned. We've got another episode coming up in just a few. Bye-bye for now.